And what do the October 7th massacre, the protests at elite universities against Zionists, and the violent attacks in Amsterdam against Israeli soccer fans all have in common? Well, these are all examples of what Globalize the Intifada look like. And I'm sure you've heard this phrase before and shrugged it off, nothing to do with you, of course. But that couldn't be farther from reality. On Thursday night, we saw in Amsterdam what can only be described as a pogrom, a violent attack against Israeli soccer fans, including women and children. They were beaten, they were stabbed, they were run over by cars, they were thrown into freezing canals, all supposedly in the name of Palestine. In the aftermath, world leaders expressed their horror over the attacks. But where have they been for the past year? Since October 7th, Western countries have allowed and stood idly by as so-called pro-Palestinian protesters called for genocide against Jews. Where were the condemnations? Where was the action then? University leaders said, well, it depends on the context, while world leaders did nothing. In fact, they opened their doors to these radicals, welcomed them, pandered to them, provided excuses for them, just like we are seeing today. All of those that are pushing the false narrative that the attacks happened because a couple Israelis tore down a Palestinian flag, so they must have deserved it. No, the attacks were premeditated, planned, organized. And how many times have soccer fans torn down flags of the opposing teams? How many times have soccer fans sang insulting songs? How many times have so-called pro-Palestinian protesters torn down the Israeli flag? How many times have they burned the Israeli flag, torn down posters of hostages, vandalized national monuments? Do all of them deserve to be hunted down too, beaten, stabbed, thrown in the canals? Or is it just the Jews? And do you think that it will end with the Jews? What will happen the next time this violent mob takes to the streets? What will happen if they can't find any Jews to assault? Will they simply put the pin back in their stun grenade, tuck the knives back into their pants, and quietly go home? Or will they come after you and after your family? This is what Globalize the Intifada means. It has nothing to do with Palestinians. It has everything to do with hatred of Jews, hatred of Israel, and hatred of the civilized world. And if you don't put a stop to it now, you will be next in line.